Is there anything you want to say, Michelle?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I completely agree with you. Like I literally worked on all the fraud stuff. And I directly worked with the 4 credit agency, wrote all the data, transaction agreement, and also analytics for fraud. So I completely agree. We spent a lot of time using different data to combat fraud at PayPal. Also, I think sometimes it's annoying because users don't like it when sometimes their funds are frozen. But there is a lot of issues, and also we were part of eBay as well, and just really seeing the merchant side and the payment side is really interesting. I think we're gonna have like I think credit is gonna be, especially with social credit is gonna be one of the big thing. I think recurrent transaction, like where you pay every month, especially in a system where there's no like chargeback, is gonna be really interesting. And also DeFi, magic money. How do you regulate that? And where does it fall? As well as like DID, right? Decentralized identity. And the travel rules, and then compliance with OFAC and a bunch of other things. So I'm really excited to talk about it. I mean not to talk about it, to like to see the ecosystem move forward with more complexity than what we have now, and and then just really seeing lawyers thinking about this issue. I met OutliersDAO. I don't know if you guys know them. They're basically a group of professional lawyers, just talking about like on Discord, talking about like legal issues around Web3. So hopefully hopefully it's gonna get they're gonna solve some of these challenges that Web2 face with the nuances of Web3.
And I think that gets to kind of the smart government people, because I think that, like the travel rule for when everybody should know, but it's that bank has to tell the corresponding bank who it is, and you have to send along with the wire transfer all this personal information, which you obviously can't do on the blockchain. If you have to send it by email, it defeats the purpose. But I think that you can imagine
125 people on this call.
Well, you could imagine having KYC and other information verified and then stapled to your wallet, or you can, if you basically think of a more decentralized atomic version of validating and authenticating people and transactions in a more atomic way, it should work, but you have to change the rules. And so I think one of the key things is that there are some smart lawyers, and this is, I'm just repeating what Michelle says, but there are some smart lawyers, there are some smart people in government that are thinking, okay, well, why did we have this stupid law in the first place? What are we trying to solve? Is there a better on-chain way to solve it? And then can we change the law to do it? And one sort of counterintuitive thing, for example, in Japan, is that Japanese banks don't really know their customer. They have lots of accounts of dead people, for example. They don't want to know their customer because then they have to close those accounts. And so the banks actually are somewhat resistant to the idea of eKYC. But if we could come up with a way of doing KYC so that your wallet is verified, and Balaji sort of wrote about this in the Mirror Tables paper, and so that you could just say, okay, I'm only going to sell tokens to people who have validated wallets, but the validator protects their privacy, but has some other third party. So you basically create independent third-party eKYC people and third-party government accredited investor people, so that wallets and transactions can be verified, more on chain. That would make, at least for certain people who aren't trying to commit crimes, it would make things much more fluid and much more native Web3 compliant. But weirdly, the resistance doesn't necessarily come from the criminals, who typically don't have lobbies. It comes from banks and other people who actually benefit from the way the current laws are written. So I think this is where I think that's, model laws like a DAO law or a new KYC ML law in some jurisdiction that wants to take an advantage, whether that's the UK or Singapore or even Japan, could do a combination of unlock a lot of value for Web3, but also turn that country into a really good country to be doing startups and stuff like that. And I think that's where some of these reg tech people are going to try to be competitive. And I think that's a lot of fun.
I saw Aidan also joining in from Unum ID. Aidan, Is there anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think it's a terrific point. It's in general not the criminals that are preventing it. Really, it's the tooling around it, in particular to make it really easy and seamless to do. I think that needs to be there. And so what we focus on obviously is a lot of that. And I think, Will posted in chat. There's some Web3 native solutions to do this. We're a Web2 solution, kind of bridging Web2, Web3 now, going more Web3 native. But certainly if you can tokenize KYC data and make it such that you can share variants of it and derivatives of it across companies, that's extremely powerful. So if you imagine, for example, like going through a KYC that's very stringent for, say, a bank in a certain geography, but then being able to share that KYC, say, with a crypto exchange and share the token of it with a DEX, and then share even just silly things like, that you're over 18 with some company that you're trying to transact with. That's really where we see the world going. Certainly, there's a blockchain-based component to that, but it doesn't have to all be on chain. And there's multiple approaches. So some are NFTs. We use verifiable credentials, which are kind of like a super powered NFT in that sense. So yeah, if anyone's really interested to chat about that, always open to conversations. And I think you made great points, and it's a huge area that we see expanding here.
Thank you, Aidan. Yeah. So Joy, I would like to let you wrap up.
Well, I'll just hand it back and just say I'm excited to see you guys running so fast and forward, and I think this idea of doing a DAO or based investment group is great, and so I'm excited to tag along, and I'll be trying to drag some of the good people from the old gang in to connect with you guys.
Thank you. That's too humble. A lot of credit goes to you who inspired me to run this DAO.